advocate for artists. Like I want artists to get paid. I want artists to be recognized for their gifts. And if artists can bring value to a space in the city of Detroit that's doing good work, like Yum Village, that's my vision. I want to be able to bring value to spaces and the people who run those spaces.
Man, that sounds beautiful. We were talking right before we got on. We were kind of like having a little conversation about what you got going on. Like what is the basics here? But this is Refrigerator Diaries. We gotta let people know what's going on inside your fridge, man. Like what you eating at home? Congratulations! I know you got a baby on the way. Yeah. What's going on inside the fridge? What did you guys have for dinner last night?
Oh, we had prime and proper for dinner last night.
Okay, I've yet to eat there. I've been inside.
Yeah, it was interesting because I made reservations. It was my wife's birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday to my wife. And we made reservations, and I had, when you have reservations, you expect to be seated like right away, and you don't also take into people are enjoying their meal and they're gonna take their time, right?
Right.
So it started off rocky.
I hear you.
It started off rocky, but the food definitely made up for it.
Is that good?
I could appreciate like how knowledgeable the server was.
Okay.
With the food and to be able to talk about the different kind of steaks.
Okay.
There was meat from Australia. That was like secret menu.
Oh, nice.
Not so secret. Spoiler. But
did they have to tell you about it? Or you had to ask about it, or somebody told you?
I just was like, what's the prime meat? Like, where's the prime and prime and proper?
Okay.
But Australian beef steak.
Yeah, I like to, when I go to a restaurant, I want to make sure that if I pay, like I like to do like this. Like I don't think about the price. Like, I'm just gonna go through the experience, go through it all, right? And then I'm gonna wait like 24 to 48 hours after I like have some time to settle, and then I'm gonna look at my bank account, match it with the receipt, and just ask myself like if it was worth it. Like if I could say like that money, I'm gonna go ahead and take the L. Like this is a good win, and I'm gonna count it as a win because the experience was that good. But if I don't feel that way, and a lot of times I think like it's a 50-50 chance right now,
right,
like,
right,
with some of the things that are popping up in the city. But if I don't feel that way, then it's a wrap.
Mine was premeditated. It was like birthday, so
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, all right, 150 off top. So it's like, like I like your comparison, like we do a little Price is Right, like, over under. Mine would tip over,
Okay, for sure.
not by much, but
Yeah.
For two,
Yeah,
that's
that's
standard if you're trying to eat.
Like putting it down, putting it down. So you come from a history of community activism, Motor City Grounds crew. For a lot of you that don't know, the city of Detroit was some odd for over in the thousands range? Is like 800 or so lots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you guys go to any of those community meetings, but if you don't, look them up. You just go to one. Sometimes they videotape them, and if they don't, you can be the advocate to start that process. It's very simple with Facebook Live. You just need a phone, and then everybody who can't come to these meetings can now see what's going on live and direct. You be the champion. Get that stuff going on in your neighborhoods and communities. The budget for the city to attend to and cut lawns in general I think it's enough for every lawn to get cut 4 times within the year. That's it. We all know there's a lot of days in the year. Grass grows fast. Your community, your father comes in addition to everything else that he does, and makes a statement and a stand to really be involved, be a partner, be a champion in the community. And I see a lot of the things that you do following that same footstep, those same reins.
Yeah, Pops would appreciate that. Shout out to Pops. And yeah, I mean, I think he saw the problem. My dad is an engineer by his background, son of an electrical engineer. So my dad saw a problem and he wanted to solve it, and his problem was 139 square miles of land in the city of Detroit. Why does it look so different when you drive up Woodward past 10 mile, 12 mile? Why the separation? Why can't 139 square miles of land look beautiful? And so Motor City Grounds Crew was born. And so my dad is a Flint native, from Flint. His mother and father by way of Chicago. So we got family, in Detroit, Chicago, Flint. And so it's just, I think his mindset is, why can't things look similar wherever I go? Like, why do they have to look so different in cities across America? And so, he just really instilled that in me. And, I'm about that beautification life, public parks and public space, and my own challenges, right? Like I'm the art guy, right? I'm the performance art guy, and so a couple years ago, I had visions of trying to bring performances in the park, and I thought it was going to be something that I was going to be able to do easily, right? Or just based off of people, places, and things in the city of Detroit. Like we can pull this off. And it wasn't that easy. And it's still a problem that I'm trying to work out and trying to solve by doing live shows and live performances in the parks of Detroit. And I will say there are people who are doing a phenomenal job at that. I'd be crazy to say I was the first person to think of that. But what I'm saying is I'd like to bring my impact and my resources to those public spaces across the city of Detroit to say, hey, like let's go up in the park, let's have a good time, let's celebrate.
You know what? And the city honestly needs that, man. Like I remember, the history of Detroit is something crazy, right? So like we had a little blip of a recession in 2002. Then we had like a uptick of development all across. I remember telling people like, oh, Detroit's coming back, like right before the Super Bowl came here. They had like all that new development that was coming. Like I remember there was a place where you could shop, get clothes, drink there. They had a bar, and then they also had like a little attendant. You give her your phone number. They take pictures of you, and then whenever you get something that kind of matches like what you're trying to wear, they would email you or they send you a text message and say like, hey, this just came in. It fits your look profile. You want to come in and try something out, And every time, no pressure, they still served you drinks. They didn't charge you for the drinks when you bought food, when you bought clothing. Like that type of stuff was happening in Detroit. And then we had like a huge, like after the Super Bowl, I think like 2006, then like in a couple months, everything just started shutting down. It started closing. We just had like a vacuum that kind of hit the city, But then there were reports about place-making initiatives, like parks and like even downtown at the point of origin. There was a book that came out talking about putting umbrellas and chairs and beaches and urban centers, and that generates people, But in terms of just activity, it starts within the communities too, Like it has to be something that's sustainable and livable, because that's going to be the thing that continues to happen. Like the likelihood of it happening is going to continue to be there.
Yeah,
there's some type of sustainability behind it.
It's a public health concern. People need things to do. Kids need to be active. People need places to run. After eating all that good food, right? That the city of Detroit has to offer. So, it's a public health problem to where we can't put all the resources in the 8.2 to say this is where we want people to come. No, again, there's 139 square miles. Like, let's make sure there's activity and there's public spaces that are inclusive and open for all across Detroit. And not just, particular pockets.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, the 8.2 is the mile radius that starts right from the point of origin, which is that Campus Martius area, all the way down. What is it? West Grand Boulevard, just past West Grand Boulevard, into that new center, north end, kind of like, Fuzzy Divider.
Yep.
All right. So the last place that you've eaten is Prime and Proper. What's a place that you like to go to in a pinch? Like you always just get something from them. You got any late nights? You using Uber Eats or any of those things?
No Uber Eats. I'll let those 10 years younger than me blow their money on Uber Eats. I mean, Yum Village always takes care of me. Avalon Bakery. I'm a big fan of like the biscuit and the egg.
Oh yeah,
and the bacon.
I just discovered that.
Yeah, that's my thing in the day. Nighttime I'm trying to slim. So, but if I had to like do like a nighttime spot, I'm a big like Outback Steakhouse like well done wings type of guy. I really like how they flavor their wings. The one off of Greenfield in Oak Park. But yeah, that's
shout out.
Yeah.
Do you visit places outside of Detroit? Like you?
Yeah.
In Metro Detroit? Or
Yeah, I'm a suburban kid. I grew up in Rochester Hills, and then came to Detroit by way of Wayne State in 2004. So it's funny, I have friends that ask me that. They're like, do you spend time in Royal Oak? Do you spend time in Ferndale? And I'd be like, no, there's that Detroit loyalty that comes out. But then when I really started like reflecting on my days and my weeks, I'm like up and down 75, down 94, down river area for work. Yeah, man, I'm a Oakland County, Wayne County bound.
So, now that you're going to be on your way to fatherhood, do you look at Detroit like as a viable place to stay? Like, is that somewhere are there things that you said, like, I'm going to be the one to make the impact to see these changes? Or do you think it's, like, good enough now and people are just, like, making all this stuff up? Because I do hear these talks a lot. Like,
It's interesting, man. It's so interesting. I recently had a conversation with a guy I went to school with in Rochester who's a business owner in the city of Detroit. A year younger than me. So I used to walk him to the bus stop. And so I shared with him that, education is important to me, and I feel like I want to raise my child in Detroit, and I want him to go to DPS schools. And, I'm going to love on my son to make sure that he has the tools for him to succeed, no matter what environment he's in. Or no matter what people say about DPS schools or whatever problem they have with DPS schools. But his response to me was, school, I didn't learn anything from school, right? That was his response. Okay. Mind you, this is somebody who went to Rochester Community Schools from K through 12, like I did, right? Right. But to dismiss his school or to dismiss like the education that I've received, at school, I just think how dare somebody kind of, say, oh man, school isn't mess. Yet that's what we hold so much stake in these kids. It's like, the education system in Detroit is poor. Right. So which one is it? Is it school doesn't matter, or I wouldn't send my kids to Detroit schools. So to me, I just think it's very complex. But I had that envy when I went to school. I'd come home and I'd say, Mom, why can't I go to school with my cousins? Or why can't I go to school in Flint or Detroit? Like, why can't I see the people that I see on the weekends during the weekdays, right? Yeah. That's how I said that's what I said as a kid, and I just think that it's manifested into, I'm gonna raise my kid in Detroit. I'm gonna raise my kid in DPS schools, and be confident in that. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. When we come back, we're gonna go into a little bit more about the 15th. What we can look into. We're also gonna talk a little bit more about Brent Smith's diet. When we return on Refrigerated Diaries.
I like this. This food is excellent.
Hey, man. Bangkok 96 there.
Man. And I've been there. I've been there about, I think I've been there twice, but I just didn't know this was an option on the menu. This is delicious.
Yeah, they have, they should put like a picture, like a little something. I was talking to this guy. We're doing, augmented reality menus, and so pretty much they make an app. People can go to your website, they click their menu, it'd be like through the phone, or they can download the app, and then it has like it shows like a 3D image on like if you like as if you're looking through the camera lens on your phone, but then there's a transfixed 3D image at whatever you're looking at, the surface, and that like will show like maybe jerk chicken and plantain and rice, what it actually looks like. So instead of it just being a description of the food, there's like a visual element. So like if you pick plantain, then a bowl of plantain will pop up like on the screen.
Right.
And you can see it.
It's like some like alien, like Sigourney Weaver alien type stuff. I don't know if that reference rings true to you.
All right, so we're gonna hop right back in. I'm gonna kind of talk to you a little bit about the lineup. I'm gonna ask you some questions about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of dig a little bit deeper into what you kind of see, like what you kind of see this building into, and then I'm probably gonna then go into some food trends that you've noticed in your travels. I know you've been traveling a lot. And then we'll close out.
Okay.
It's gonna be a little quicker.
Yep.
Probably about like 8 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
When you're ready, let me know.
Okay, so let me set my timer here.
Coming back on at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, we are back in action here on Refrigerated Diaries. Hashtag What's Your RD? For you, those of you just joining us, we are interviewing the good brother Brent Smith, blacksmith. To those you know, you as I understand it, you still got all of the bars, right?
I have some bars. There's enough bars to go around. But yeah, man,
You want to come and get it?
I'm hungry, man. Right, I'm hungry, and I see a void. As far as like content and I don't want to say lyricism because that's such like a.
It's hard, yeah.
We don't say lyricism anymore. It's kind of like, are you saying something or are you not saying something? Is it mumble rap or is it not mumble rap? But just to be able to have a conscience, and speak truth, I think that's important.
Right. So, you're becoming a taste maker, as they call it. The development of culture creator, setting up with the Soul Journey series. So where'd that name come from?
Soul Journey actually came from, I went to a coworker's master's graduation. He got his master's in theology. And one of the speakers said that she said that she sojourned through her class. And that word stuck out to me, sojourn, as in like sojourner truth, or like sojourn to like overcome or persevere, right? But then I was just kind of like, when it comes to a showcase or a music series, call it Souljourn, and let that soul kind of go on a journey as you listen to this music. And I think Detroit has enough artists in the city, live performance artists, to move people's soul.
Definitely. And this is going to be going on at Yum Village here on Saturday, June 15th. Who's on the lineup?
Well, myself. I haven't rapped live in 2 years. So my last show was actually in Saint Nazaire, France, with Pastor Lacqua in 2017. And
shout out.
Yeah. And returning home, I just wanted to kind of, get serious with my life and make some changes. And so I haven't been performing. So I'll be on the lineup. Mike Phelps in The Plug, his band will be on the lineup.
Microphone.
Shout out to Mike Phelps. And then Till Infinity Records. It's a group. It's a 4-man group. And I'm partial to groups, rap groups in the city. I happen to work with one of the artists from that group. His name is Ricardo Benjamin. Shout out to RCRL, aka Rico.
Rico.
Man, and just to see that, like music and hip hop is the number one genre, right now. Like that's what people consume. And to see someone who's grew up, in the 2000s, right? And see how hip hop has affected his life. It just keeps me motivated to say like, okay, like I want to be able to bridge the gap. And bringing, myself, Mike Phelps, and Till Infinity Records, to me, that's bridging the gap. And those different audience that come out to support at Young Village, who knows what kind of connections will come from that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely impactful. And I gotta say too, you check like what I have heard from the young man, it's popping.
Man.
It's got me going. I'm looking forward to everybody. I'm looking forward to you especially. OG in it. So, where do you kind of see this going? Like is it going to be the same? Like, you going to be the same artist every time? Like, are you going to switch it up? Are there going to be like focuses that you guys kind of incorporate in each of these, or?
One of the main components, I remember being 21, 22 in the city of Detroit, trying to, get my art off, right? And trying to hit open mics. And I would spend $5 at those open mics. And this is at a time when in Detroit, you had an open mic Monday through Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I'm spending about $30 to $35 a week.
Like Sweet Epiphanies,
yeah,
they say
Lola's. You remember
Live Lounge?
Yeah. So I want to be able to say money is important, right? Mm-hmm. But in order for people to really see this art and to feel this art, there has to be a barrier removed. And I feel like sometimes money is that barrier, because I hope I'm not preventing an artist who was like me from eating because they're so busy and so passionate about trying to get to an open mic and spending $10 to get on a stage.
Right.
I want to be able to say, no, let's remove that barrier. This is a free event. Come out and feel and see this great art and be inspired. So that's going to be the main thread in all of this, is that, I want to really bring people together. There will be different acts. And I hope to, bring some national headliners, to the city of Detroit. Now those shows might not be free,
right.
but you get the idea. Like I'm really trying to improve systems here, to figure out what's the best way to throw a show in Detroit in 2019, 2020.
Yeah, it's true. The landscape is ever changing. Even in the restaurant industry, like thinking back of it, like Yum Village essentially started off just doing pop-ups. We were a pop-up company, no real overhead in terms of space, and that's what made sense for us at the time. But even now, as we're moving into the world of being a brick and mortar, back then when I was doing pop-ups, brick and mortars didn't have like Grubhubs and like all these other things that take whatever percent, it's like this is like the age of the middleman, the digital middleman age. So it's refreshing to have a honest approach at recognizing tangible things.
Can I say you were the first person to say to me, this is like 2007, 2008. We were outside of Wayne State's library. Not Purdy Kresge, the UGL.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, man, Brent, you got to have an EPK. And I was like, Godwin, EP, what are you talking about? And you're like, an electronic press kit. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, got to using this Jesuit, this Jesuit slang on me. What is this? So, yeah, man, thank you for that.
Hey, man.
Your branding game has always been on point.
Yes. Yours as well, man. We're like doing it together. If you haven't had a chance to see it, these posters have been all over the city. Shout out to that canvas game. Like I've seen them everywhere. So June 15th, come on through to Young Village, and where else can we keep updated on this?
You can follow me on my Instagram at The Blacksmith, TheBlacksmith. I also want to shout out Whitney Syfax Walker, who will be hosting, and then a special guest DJ. So you got to come out to Young Village to see who this DJ is. And yeah, we're going to be turning heads that night.
Poppin'. We'll see you next time on Refrigerator Diaries.